I'm Maria from Crochet A to Z, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please push that subscribe button. If you have, thank you for being here as well. Thank you for all being here. And today what I want to show you is how to make these really easy slippers or bed slippers. I'm going to use mine in bed because my feet are always cold in the winter. So I like to put on something to warm them up, and this is a perfect thing. If you're going to use them to walk around in and in bed too, what you can do is buy sock stop. It's a non-skid item that you can put underneath there in little drops underneath the sole, and you could drop them on there so that you'll keep from skidding and falling, which is not a bad idea to do, whether you're going to use them in bed just in case you get up during the night and you want to make sure that you don't fall. So this is a really easy pattern. It's great for beginners. It's great for somebody that isn't a beginner and wants to make a quick gift for someone. And they don't take long. You could actually make a pair of these in a day. So I'm going to show you just how easy these are to make. And all you're going to need is your needle to sew the ends, and also to sew in your pull in your ends. A measuring tape if you want to measure the person's foot, or you know what size they are, and you have to do that as well. So you add and subtract chains to ensure the foot size. And you want scissors. Pom-poms if you're going to use pom-poms on your socks. If you're not, that's fine too. You can make them plain. And whatever color yarn you want. What I chose for this tutorial on both these yarns that I've used is, this is called Lion Brands and Tones by Lion Brand. And it tells you everything on there. It's a medium weight yarn. It's 100% acrylic. They both are. They're great, machine washable. You can put them in the gentle cycle to dry. I love that. And this is an almond color. So these are really, really nice yarns. They're soft, and they really are nice to work with. So I'm going to show you just how we make this. Real simple. So you're going to chain 40. Now, the reason I'm saying 40 is my size. I chained 40 because I have a large. So these can actually fit anybody from a large to an extra large, and they'll fit very comfortably and nicely. So I chained 40. Again, depending on the size foot, you add or subtract chains to ensure the foot size. That's why I said it's always good to have a measuring tape to do that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chain 40. This is your working chain. These are your chains, your V's, and this is your slip knot, not considered a chain. So there we go, for those that are new to this. If you're going to follow along, I am going to go slow so you can watch what I'm doing. So we're going to do a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And if you've never done a single crochet, you go into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Go in, pull up a chain, yarn over, pull through 2. Go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Go into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is your stitch. Really easy. So what you're going to do is you're going to go across and you're going to single crochet right across. This is just a single crochet. And like I said, this is great if you want to make something fast. You can sell these, whatever you want to do. You want to give them as gifts. You want to give them as stocking stuffers. They're great. They've been around forever. They are iconic. I still have people that ask me to make them for them. They sell very well. And I have different styles. This is the one I'm going to show you as a beginner or someone that wants to do something real quick. I have other ones that are really nice too, and I'm going to be showing those going forward. But this is the one I wanted to start with. So again, single crochet right across. And I'm going to be having going forward a lot of great projects coming up for the fall and the winter. So again, if you will, please subscribe because there are a lot of great projects coming forward. You're going to notice I have one finger. I'm testing out polish for my nails because they've been breaking like crazy. So I have one fingernail that I'm testing this polish out because I wanted to see if I liked it. So you're going to notice some might say, she's only got one nail with polish on it. That's why. So here we go. Right there. We're going to go right in. And this is such a nice pattern. And like I said, you can make this in one day. You can make a pair. So I like mine, you ankle, depends on how you like them and how high you like them. I like mine a certain way. So I did 46 rows of single crochets, just to let you know. So now, once you get to the end, you're going to chain 1. When you get to the end, you're always going to chain 1. You're going to turn your work around, and this is where it becomes different. You're going to go into that very first chain, but you're going to go, or should I say single crochet, into the back loop, and you're going to single crochet. And you're going to go again into the back loop and single crochet. And you're going to do this right across in the back loop. And I'm going to show you when you do that, this is what you get from doing that. You get these little, I don't know whether you want to call them ripples or what, but you get that nice. And I want to show you something else too. They have a nice stretch to them. That's why I say more than one size can fit depending on what size you make them. So it's really, really nice. They have a nice give to them. They won't shrink when you wash them. And if they do, depending on the yarn you use, that give will make them very comfortable. And if you want to wear them in bed, which I am going to be doing because my feet are always freezing, they'll just be really nice. So here we go. Always in that back loop. Right across. You're going to be doing that right till the end. And I just wanted to pull my yarn, so always in the back loop, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to pull this forward. So not in this loop because that's your front loop. This back loop. See it? There's the front one. There's the back one. And again, you're going to single crochet right across. And when you get to the end, on every row, you're going to chain 1. Now, as you make your rows, check and see how it fits on your foot. If you're making them for yourself and you know the person that you're making them for has the same size foot, just check, and you can go by that and see how high you want to make them or how low you want to make them. That's totally up to you. So again, the back loop. And you're going to do this until you get as many rows as you want. I suggest that you end your row with an odd number, not an even number, an odd number. And the reason for that is when you put it together, they'll kind of even out, and it'll look like it's it'll give an even look to it because of those ripples. So they'll come together nice. So use an odd number of rows when you're done. And people have asked me to make them, and I'll always say to them, measure your foot and tell me, you know, how long your foot is. And that's what I go by. So I've actually done that, and I've gotten the different sizes by doing that. And then I save the information in my little journal. So again, you're at the end. You're going to chain one. You're going to turn your work, and you're going to go into that first one, back loop. Going to pull up a loop, and you're going to go right again into that back loop. And you're going to go right across again. Very easy. You don't have to think about it. You can make these while you're watching TV. You're in the car waiting for somebody. You can make them. The kids are going back to school. You're waiting for them to get out of school. You can make them. You're having lunch. You're at work. You can make them. Small project. You bring just what you need with you. Easy to do. And that's it. You're just like, okay, I'm going to take these to work with me. So this is how you go across. Now I'm going to show you, even though this is just a couple of stitches, I want you to see, you're already seeing that bump out. It has a little texture to it. You're already seeing what you need to see because you're going into the back loop. And when you turn your work around, you're going into the back loop again, but you've turned your work around, and it's giving you what you need to have the pattern. I always say that single crochets are so, you know, people don't realize, but they're such a pretty stitch that you can make a lot of beautiful things with a single crochet. And it really is a nice stitch. So here we go, and we're going right across. So, and again, when you get to the end, you will chain one, you will turn your work around, and you will continue. You go into that very first stitch where you chained one. The chain one counts as nothing. You turn your work around, and you go into that first single crochet, and you make your single crochet into the back loop. And this is what we do all the way across. And it's just a great easy stitch. But I'm going to show you another thing that I have that I really love, another stitch. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that stitch. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh. So there's a lot of really nice things that you can make. I can't wait to show you all these projects. It's just like there's so much coming up. I love the fall because there's just like so much out there that you can do. So right to the end. Okay, so you're going to chain one. You're going to turn your work around. You're going to go right back into that back loop, and you're just going to do this for as many rows as you want. I said I did 46. That's what I liked. because I like the way it come up. That's up to you. You can put your foot on it and you can check it and see if that's the way you want to make it, and just wrap it around the top of your foot and do that. So once you do that and you get the length that you need, we're going to move on to this. And this is what I kept doing. And these are, here's all the single crochets. Here's the nice ripple that you can see. Isn't that pretty? And it's got a nice, like I said, a nice stretch to it. So now we've got this, and we're going to just continue. So we're going to do something with this. This is the size that I wanted. So now we fold this in half. And I want to show you. This goes on here. So that's how we fold it in half. And like I said, if you do an odd number, you're going to see that they're going to match up. They're going to match up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sew up the side. And the side is the back of your slipper or your bed slipper, whatever you prefer. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So we're going to get your needle, and we're going to sew up the side. And what I like to do is, again, I make sure that it's all, and I like to go through both the front and the back together. And I go right in there, I line it up, and I just grab yarn there, and I grab, and I do that. So we're just going to do from the front and the back. And I want to mention that the wrong side and the right side, you'll be able to tell, but I am going to do a tutorial on being able to tell. I did it with the granny square, and I'll do it with this as well, so that you can tell which is the wrong side and which is the right side. I'm going to do a whole tutorial on that, as well as other little things that I want to go over for different projects. So I am going to do a tutorial on the front and the back. And I'm also going to do one on gauge. And I did do a tutorial on how to make the pom-poms. So again, we're just going to go right across. And you don't have to make it. You just go along. It doesn't have to be, you want to grab what you want to grab, but it doesn't have to be where it's so thick. So you want to make it just one. You don't want to make it a double strand tie up. You want to just do a single strand sewing. Because if you do a double strand sewing, it will be way too tight. And not too tight, I'm sorry, way too thick. And you don't want to make it so thick that that's all you feel in the back of your leg or in the back of your foot. So you want to make it, especially if you're going to wear these for bed and for walking around with, you want them comfy. So that's why you don't have to do a double strand sew. You can do a single strand sew, and it will sew it up very nicely. And it'll get exactly what you need. You pick up from the front, you pick up that back piece in a loop, and you just go right along. And it just becomes really, like I said, very easy. Sometimes stuff like this looks so hard, and it's so like, and we try to make it so it's not, because even when I was first learning, I was like, oh gosh, I'll never make those. That's really hard. But we try to make it so that it's easy to make. And like I said, with the, if you've never made them before, this is a nice way to start. And the other thing is, if you don't want to use, I've also done this. If you don't want to use a pom-pom, you can use a decorative button. A lot of things you can do if you want to make it, so you don't have to do a pom-pom. I'm making them for my husband. I'm not going to add a pom-pom to him. I'm just going to give it to him plain. And I am going to make a two-tone for him. And that's the other thing. You can use variegated yarn. You don't have to use a plain yarn. You can use a variegated yarn. So don't feel like, oh, that's the only one I can use. No, you can use a variegated yarn. Something knotted here, and I'm just going to, the yarn knotted. I'm just going to pull it so that it's not. And this is little things that can happen. And you're seeing it. You're seeing it there, right there. See? Not a big deal. And you pulled it through. So all kinds of things can happen when you're doing this. And it's good to see, because then it's like, you're not like, oh gosh, look what happened now. How am I going to get out of this? No worries. Everything can be fixed. So don't feel as though, oh, I made a mistake. Yep, you made a mistake. You'll pull it out. You'll fix it. It'll be fine. You might be talking to somebody, you know, at lunchtime, and something happens, and you're like, oh, wow, like this yarn is not cooperating, something, whatever you're doing, or like I said, you're not paying attention, and it throws something off on the yarn. And if you want, you can also, you can hold on to an end of it if you want. You can go like that so that it doesn't, you know, do stuff that's crazy. Because sometimes yarn, you know, you're doing one thing and it's doing another. It's like your hair. You want it to go in one way and it's going another way. So don't worry about that. So we're going to come to the very end to shear this right up. And I just make sure that it's, and then I just go in here one more time. And I just go like this. And that's it. And then I'll cut enough of that, and that can be weaved in, because this is the inside of your, and that's your back end. Now I'm going to show you something that I do. Your back end, I move this and I do like this. So I'm going to show you what I mean. It's like, it's almost like a little triangle in the back, and I pull it up and I tack it so that it gives you that look instead of that real pointy look. You don't have to do that. I do it. I like it. I like the way it looks, and I just pick this up and I tack it. And then what I'll do is I will tack it with some yarn and sew it so that it tacks right in there. And I'll show you what I mean. I get it, and I put my finger right in there, see it? And I tack this right up. You're not going to feel it when you're walking. And I just shear it up a little bit. I grab some yarn right here, wherever you want to grab it, wherever you think is good, because sometimes, and I make that little, so it gives you that little, and I just do that right along, right in here. And I go right along here, and I weave it in kind of, yep, and then I pick up another piece of yarn from the other side, and I give it that little bit of a, and like I said, it's like a little triangle that goes up. And I go right in here. And again, you don't have to do this. I do it. I like doing it. I like the way it looks. And there it is. And then I go in here and I make my little, again, I go in and I just shear it up a little more. And sometimes your yarn will kind of knot up, but that's okay. And I just pull it through. And these are ends that you're just gonna sew in. You're gonna just go back in there so that you can make sure that it's all set. And you can try these on, and if it feels as though it's not, it's not tacked enough, you can re-tack it and, go in there and do it. But once you do that, it's good. And then you get all these ends, and you either cut them, because many of them have already been sewn in, and then you just go in here, and then I finally go in and I make my final stitch. I pull that through. There it is. I go in here. And you can, again, you just do it with one, you don't do a double strand of yarn, you do just one. And you're going to pull this through. And just like I said, if you don't want to do this and you want to leave it the way it is, that's fine too. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, and I'll weave in those ends. So here we go. Make it long enough so you can weave in the ends so they don't come out. And if you tack that enough, when you go in, you're not even going to feel that, because inside this one I have tacked it, and I tacked it enough that your foot doesn't even feel that when you're walking. It's like it's not even there. So then once you do that, we're going to get to this side. And this is, so again, we're going to get enough of yarn so that we can make this side. So you want to make your strand long enough because you want to be able to do the other side. So I'm going to make this a little longer because I want to be able to show you. This is going to be your toe end. So I'm going to get the yarn ready. I am not going to knot this yarn, and I'll show you why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, and I'm going to bring my yarn through, and I'm going to find like a little loop in here that I can start. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this through, but I'm going to leave a long enough tail for that side. And I'll show you why when we get to the end. So now we're going to go right along. If you can find these loops, go right along in there and get your needle under those loops. See the loops? I want to show you. And you can put your needle right in there and go into the loops. What I call the loops anyway. And go right along. And you don't have to do it too tight. Because what you want to do is once you get in here, you want to be able to pull that yarn through. So you're going to go right along. And as you get from the end, you're going to find it easier to get into these loops. They're just going to be easier to get into. Here's another one. Here's another one. Right along. And like I said, you're going to find it easier to get in them once you go along. It's another one. And you want to make sure that when you pull this through, you don't pull this. So there you go. And we're going to go right along. And we're going to go again in those loose loops. Sounds like go into the loose loops, or whatever you want to call them, the loops that you see right along. And now if you notice, we're heading towards the back, and we're going up the side. Again, those loose little loops, or the little loops that you see. And you want to make it so that you don't want it to be so that it's so hard for you to drag your needle through this at the end when you're done with this. So again, a reminder, leave that right there. Don't pull it through. You're almost at the end here. And we're going to go back in here. And we're going to do our little right to the end. You're going to pull that right through. Right to the end. And that's beautiful. So you're going to pull this right out. There's your other end. And now what you're going to do is you're going to get these two ends. These two ends. And you're going to pull them. You're going to pull one side, you're going to pull the other side, you're going to pull them. I'm going to make it so that you can see it. And what you're doing is you're pulling these, and you're pulling the toe. You're pulling it, so you're pulling the toe. And there's your toe. So then what you can do, once you do that, pull it real tight. Because what's going to happen by doing it this way, it's not going to be so bunchy inside. It's going to be together, but it's not going to be like it's going to hurt. Because sometimes you sew it so much that this is good, just like this. And then what I do is I knot this. And then it's nice and tight. And once I knot it, I make it so my ends are even. And I cut my ends so they're even like this. And I put my needle in. I thread my needle. Thank goodness these eyes are nice and big so I can see what I'm doing. I thread my needle just one side. You don't need to thread both sides. And I just make it so that I make sure that this inside is sewn and it meets so that there's no hole there. So I go in and just one strand, because I don't want it to be so bulky that it's uncomfortable. And I just go through here and I just go in and I weave a little, you know, you can go in and find a spot, find another spot on the other side, and you just make it so that it's nice and it's closed. You can put your finger there to just make sure. And it's almost like you're doing some weaving. Let me pull that back so you can see it. And you're weaving in there and you're sewing it together. I'm going to show you. I'm going to pull that up. There we go. See how it's closed up? Perfect. And you use your eye to see, and different yarns make it easier to see what you're doing than others. I thought I would use a lighter yarn so you could see what I was doing. And that's why I decided to use this yarn. And now I'm going to knot this. And again, I'm going to knot it. And then what I'll do is I will leave a long enough tail so that I can weave in the ends. So there it is. Enough of a tail so that I can weave the ends. And I'm just going to get my needle again. And I'm going to go right in there again. And I'm just going to make sure that everything looks good. I'm going to go in there one more time. And I'm just going to do like a little knot. Pull it. And I don't like it so thick that, you know, you're going to feel it. But this particular pattern, this style it's very cushiony. And that's what I like about it. And then I'm going to have a long enough string so that I can weave in those. And this is the way it looks. See how nice it is from the outside. And I'm going to turn this so that you can see. So far, so good. There's your corner, and it looks nicely tucked in, so it's not. And here's got a little bit of and it looks really cute. And if there's any strands of yarn that stuck out, you can pull them in. So now we're going to go back in, and now we're going to sew this portion. Now, that being said, what's going to happen here is you're going to sew it as far as you're comfortable with. So you try it on, and you see what size, how far you want to make it. So you're going to get more yarn. And again, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do you're not going to double your yarn up. You're just going to do one. You're going to thread your needle. You're going to make a knot at the end. And you're going to go up your side. Or should I say your top is really what it is. So this is what I mean. You're going to go up this way until you get to your desired opening. So that's up to you, whatever your desired opening is, whatever you feel comfortable with. And again, you're going to put that together. You're going to see where that ended. You can tell, and you're going to start sewing that together right in here. I just want to show you where it is. So you're going to go in there, and you're going to start sewing it together. And again, you're going to do just one strand because you don't want it to become so thick that that's all you feel or just doesn't look right. You want it to be a nice light stitch when you're doing this. So that's what you're going to do, and you're going to do that until you get to the desired length, area that you want. And what I do sometimes, or I should say all the time, is if that's that knot, I sew that knot right into what I'm doing. So you're not going to even see that there's a knot there. And I sew it right in to what I'm doing. So it'll just become part of, so there it is. And the knot will become part of that, and I get it right in there. It's just something that I do so that you don't even see the knot, and the knot actually is secured so it won't come out. But that's something that I do. I'm not saying everybody does that. You may not like it, but that's what I do. Everybody does their own thing. When you start to crochet, it doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's right. It's just what you're comfortable with. And that's when we're going to go right across. And again, this is the top of your, so I'm going to pull this so I don't have to keep doing that. So here we go. So you just pick up and you just sew across. And that's what I do. I just do it at once. I have a friend that actually does one side and then she does the other side. She sews on one side and then picks up on the other side. I kind of like doing it this way better. That's why everybody does it differently. Everybody has their own techniques, and that's fine. You have your own techniques that you do that you like, and if they work, that's all good. So this will just go across. These are going to be actually for a member of my family member. I wanted to do them one in one color, one in the other color, because I wanted you to see them. Plus, I felt as though that maybe this would be easier for you to see. Here we go. There's the needle. And you're just going across. And like I said, you can make these in one day. You don't have to make them in one day. You can make them as many days, you know, whatever's going on in your life. If you're working and you're working at work, that's fine. You just do whatever's easier. But this is, and if this is boring, just fast forward this. That's not a problem. You don't have to watch me do this whole thing. And what I'm doing is I'm going to check it out with my other one that I made, and I'm going to see how that looks. And I've just got to go just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Going to kind of eye it. I'm not sure the person that I'm making this for is going to want pom-poms, but I'm going to show you at least how to attach it if you are going to make them. And in yesterday's tutorial, I showed you to leave a nice... So I'm going to stop about there. And that's about right. And when you get going, you can almost tell where you've... your eye can almost bring you there. And there's my opening, which is enough. So here we go. I'm going to do is finish this off. And again, once again, I'm going to do it again. And not so much that it's going to be uncomfortable. So I just kind of, and then again, I'll do like another, and I'll pull this through. And then I will knot this. And then what I'll do is I'll leave along and I'll weave in the ends. Then I will cut this as well. And there's the opening. Now, if you want, and that's totally up to you, and these are all things that you're going to decide when you do this. It's totally up to you, but if you want, because this is the wrong side, you can add, like I did, a bit of color. That's up to you. And what I just did was I did a slip knot. I started on one side, and I decided to add a little bit of color. But that, again, is up to you. If you do not want to do that, you don't have to. That's up to you and what you want to do. If you want to leave this plain, you can. If you want to add a bit of color to it, you can. You're working on, this is the your wrong side, and this is going to be your right side. Now, it's up to you. If you want to add a bit of color, you can. And what I usually do is this is what I do to add color. And I single crochet all the way around, and I add my color. But again, that's up to you. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. And I'll go all the way around, and I'll add another color, and it'll look like this all the way around. Or you can leave it plain. Now, if you decide you're going to go all the way around, you just find the spot that you can go into, and you just do a single crochet. If you find that you have another, stitch that you want to use, you can do that as well. That's up to you. If you don't want to, to leave it like that, that's fine. But you can do this and single crochet it all the way around until you get to the other side. It doesn't matter where you start your single crochets. It really doesn't. And you just kind of space it so that you go all the way around, and you figure out where you want to do this. And you just go all the way around, and you do your single crochets. Now, once you get all the way around and you finish whatever color you want to finish in, and you've lined this with the color that you like, and I'm going to pull this out, and you get to this end, and you're all done all the way around, you can add your pom-pom. And when I did the pom-pom tutorial, I said always leave long string. And the reason that I said that is because this way here, you can add your pom-pom, and it'll make it really easy for you to add your pom-pom. And I'm going to show you how. And you're going to add your pom-pom. You're going to turn this to the right side, and you're going to sew in all those ends and see how it's nice. And you have a nice, it's not that's your, think of it as your heel. And this is your toe, and it's really nice. And because of this type of stitch, it makes it so cushiony and so comfortable. This is what's nice about it. And you just pull this all out, and it looks really, really cute. And if you've added, like I said, if you've added color to it, that's up to you. So what you would do here is you would add your pom-pom. So you would get your crochet hook, and you would pull it through here. Now, if you didn't want to do that color and you just wanted to do, like I said, you wanted to just add a pom-pom with a different color, like this color, you can just pull these strings right through. I don't believe the person that I'm going to give these to is going to want a pom-pom. But if you decide that you put one in and then the person says, oh, I really don't like it, you can cut it off. And you add your pom-pom to it. And you go inside. And you can make it so that it's going to, because we're going to have all these little, so you're going to make it. And you're going to pull one of these through here, so that you want to fasten it. And knot it. And then knot it a second time. And then you can cut all your ends. And see, this is so, like I said, this, because of the way this is made, it's so soft and it's really cushiony. And you're going to weave in all your ends, and that's the one with the pom-pom. And like I said, if you want to make color, or if you want to make a splash of color and add more here, you can, like I did with this one. If you just want to make a color, different color pom-pom, and you want to just add that as the splash of color, you can do that. You can do whatever you want with these, and they're really simple. They're easy to make. See how cute that is? And like I said, when you put your foot in there, because of the way this is made, it's so soft and cushiony because of these ridges. It makes it really, really soft and comfortable. And these are the two that I'm making. I'm making one plain with a pom-pom, maybe. And I'm making one with a pom-pom for myself and a little colored ridge. You can make these with variegated yarn, or a mix of cotton mix, whatever you want to do, whatever you want, whatever way you want to make it. But this is Maria from Crochet A to Z. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please subscribe. And I can't wait to show you my next thing that I have. I think you're really going to love it. It's a really nice pattern. It is a Lion brand pattern, so I can't wait to show you how to make this next project. But for this project, like I said, once you're done, you go in, you take care of all your ends, you weave in your ends, you cut everything. I'm going to show you what the inside of this one looks like as well. There it is right there. And that is your nice toe, nice and cushiony. Here's your back end. It doesn't have a point. It's got a little bit of a thing where you turn that right in like I showed you. And then you weave in all your ends as well. And it makes for a nice cushion for your foot. It really is really nice. And I really do love making this. They're so easy. And like I said, you can make these as high as you want. I like mine a little bit high. That's totally up to you. So this is Maria from Crochet A to Z. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have a great day, and see you again soon with another really great tutorial on something you can make for yourself, give to a friend, and it is a Lion brand pattern. So I can't wait to show you this next tutorial. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.